As the mayor of the town of Clayton, I'd like to call this regular town council meeting to order. Excuse me, I ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the many blessings of today. And we ask, Lord, now that you be with us as we proceed with the business for the town of Clayton. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Are there adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one adjustment. Under item 11B, we'd like to remove the discuss personnel and add a closed session to consult with the town attorney.
Okay, got that noted. Any others? All right. If not, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Up next, your consent agenda.
Move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Up next on the agenda is the administrative items, and tonight it's personnel actions. I'm very happy to report that the town of Clayton officially tonight has two of the best town employees that we've ever had, and that would be with our town clerk, Heidi Holland, and with our town manager, Rich Coppola. And I'm so very proud of the action that this council took to create a process and for this council to take their skill sets and their knowledge to conduct these interviews and to see this process all the way through and to see the result of all that hard work. You all are to be congratulated. And with that, I'm going to ask Heidi if she'll join me down front, and I'll administer the oath to you. You have anybody with you?
I do. I have my sons.
Okay, come on. Come on. You can stand up here with her. Yeah, somebody gets to hold the Bible or you know. Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. You hold the Bible. Yeah. Can you come stand on this side? No, yeah, let him stand. Yeah. That's in case she feels like she's gonna feel faint and y'all be right there. All right. If you will place your hand on the Bible and repeat after me. I, Heidi Holland,
I, Heidi Holland,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as town clerk for the town of Clayton.
as town clerk for the town of Clayton.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have
Thank
you.
you. I'm glad to be part
That's
of it.
wonderful. Yes. Good to see you. And we're going to be right here for a picture. Thanks. Awesome. Thank you. Also this evening, we're going to be administering the oath of office to our new town manager. And what a process this was. And this council is to be so highly commended for your actions and your vision and your processes and your following through. And the $18,000+ that you save taxpayers taking this on, clearing your calendar, making it work, seeing it all the way through the process. And the best candidate for the job is clearly Rich Coppola. So Rich, if you will join me down here, and Rich has his family with him this evening, we're going to ask you all to join down here. Awesome. Perfect. Yep, the camera loves that. That's perfect. All right, so if you will repeat after me. I, Richard D. Coppola Jr.,
I, Richard D. Coppola Jr.,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as town manager for the town of Clayton.
as town manager for the town of Clayton.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you.
We'll do one more. Great, thank you.
You want to do a council shot with Rich real quick? Yeah, come on down.
Yep, I can get everybody. Ready? 3, 2, 1. We're good.
Yeah. Well, just want to take a couple minutes here for a few comments. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the mayor and town council for giving me the opportunity to continue to serve the town of Clayton. The interview process, just being included, was an honor, but to be chosen to lead the fastest growing town and the fastest growing county in North Carolina is really something special for me. Over the last 14 months, I've been given the opportunity to work with you all in multiple capacities on a lot of new initiatives. We've been able to get things like the 2018 Parks bonds moving forward. The wastewater treatment facility has been on a strong path here and should provide for opportunity for many years for the town. We approved the 2045 comprehensive plan since I've been interim town manager. We kicked off the Uniform Development Code rewrite, the downtown master plan, the small area plan for the NC 42 and 70 interchange. And we're currently preparing for our first ever transportation plan, as well as our Parks and Rec master plan update. So those are some really big opportunities for us to really put Clayton on the path for success over the next 20 to 30 years that I hope to be leading the charge. In that time, I've also had a lot of opportunity to work with the various staff and some departments that I hadn't previously and get to know some of their challenges as well as identify some opportunities. So over the next 60 to 90 days, I'll be looking to give you guys a little bit better idea of kind of how I see some new initiatives that maybe we can take on, or some ways that we can revamp some of our current programming to be able to provide better services or enhance services to our citizens. I'd like to take a minute to thank my family who's here in support, but clearly have been supporting me for, well, a lot more than the 14 months, but certainly over that time, they've understood kind of the demands of the job, as well as, you know, some of the late nights and long days that we end up having to put together, trying to do good things for the residents here in Clayton. So I do want to say thank you to all of you girls and my wife, Lauren. You guys have been troopers in all this, and I appreciate you actually sitting still relatively for the last minute and a half. I just want to say I'm really looking forward to serving you all and the citizens of Clayton here. It's a great opportunity, and with being the fastest growing town and the fastest growing county, we can't lose sight of all the challenges in front of us. But I think with working with the great team that we have here at the town already, and adding some staff as well, we're going to have a really bright future. So I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity, and I'll be here when you need me. Thank you.
If you will just stay at the podium really quick, and I'll just go by council for comments real quick.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for everything you've done for us as the interim town manager as well. And I think that with the growth that we are seeing, that you were the right choice for this job. And so I'm looking forward, and I'm excited to see what we're going to see going forward. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Rich, it's been a pleasure working with you over the past few months. I've had a chance to see you operate. I've seen you handle things creatively in a problem-solving manner, coming up with unique and effective solutions and challenges. I feel like your mix of education, experience, and institutional knowledge were really what Clayton needed and what they need. I feel like we're at a pivotal point with Clayton, and with the stressors, you know, with the infrastructure, you know, you're the right man for the job. You know, you've got a big job ahead of you. You've got a community, a council, and a staff that are relying on you. And now you're the permanent captain of this ship. So congratulations. I have the full faith, trust, and confidence in you. You can do this. We can do this. The council's rooting for you. And the community, you know, obviously must root for you too, because your success is the town's success. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So no pressure.
I got it.
Rich Capola told me 14 months ago, Mr. Mayor, I'll be the best #2 guy Town of Clayton's ever had. And I thought, well, that was nice. Then I started working with him. Started seeing leadership skills. Started seeing communication skills. Started seeing the engineer skills. Started seeing the real everyday fun people skills. Rich is very well-rounded. And you probably would have been the best #2 man the town of Clayton's ever had. But for sure, you are the best #1 man for the town of Clayton. And that is evident 110% through this entire process. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Rich, not to echo too much of what others have said, I want to thank your family, because, you know, anybody that works in government quickly learns this is a 24/7 operation. And, you know, people that work in the private sector don't always have 24/7 jobs. And sometimes it's a shock on families when all of a sudden the phone rings all hours of the night, weekends, holidays, in the middle of your vacation. We know that happens. And, you know, we know that, I know I've had several conversations with you over holidays and vacations and while you're traveling. And one thing I can say is that I appreciate your steady, you're just being steady. There's times that we hear things and might get us upset. There's things you're going to hear and you get upset. And we have conversations and we resolve it without tempers or personal feelings getting involved. And you've done great helping to keep us steady and not let us get, you know, overzealous one way or the other with certain issues. And your steady hand and guiding this ship is really instrumental. And I think it's shown us over the last year that you've been leading us that you've got what it takes to do this job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Such good words. I echo all of them, but I wanted to say for me, I've really gotten to see firsthand that you sincerely care about the residents and the quality of life here. And that really stands out. So that is very much appreciated and noted. I also really respect you have a unique combination of technical knowledge and leadership abilities. So I feel like we are in a great position to achieve the goals of the town, and I know you'll get us there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Rich, I make no bones about it. I'm very upfront in the fact that leadership, I know it hands down. I'm very arrogant because, yes, after spending 21 years in the United States Marine Corps, there are 14 leadership traits that the Marine Corps has us pretty much go by. And I even jotted some of them down when I thought about you. Decisiveness, integrity, dependability, initiative, knowledge, enthusiasm. Those are a couple of the ones that just highlight to me just how you are and having been able to see you. Again, I've seen countless individuals, so I love seeing those traits, but most of all, with you, I've seen your willingness to want to learn, your willingness to want to do better. You are hands down with all the other candidates, and you're a good candidates, the person for the job. I think with your family there supporting you and just your overall enthusiasm, what you're looking for the town of Clayton is going to just skyrocket us even further. You know, my only hope is that you and your family within this next year hopefully will move to the town of Clayton, and that would just be the cherry on the pie there. I'm not going to wish you luck because I already know you're going to do outstanding.
No. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, with that, we need to make a formal motion to approve our employment contract with Richard Coppola as town manager for the town of Clayton.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we calling for a quick 10-minute break for transition, or we just jumping right in? Y'all want to take a 5-minute break to clear the room? Yeah, okay. We're going to take like a little 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and continue with our agenda. I'd like to call our meeting back to order.
Mr. Mayor, I would like
Ms. Archer?
I have a motion I'd like to make to approve Heidi Holland as the town clerk.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Heidi Holland as the official Town of Clayton Town Clerk. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Congratulations. Up next will be employee introduction, and we'll begin with Human Resource Director Kenya Walls.
Good afternoon. When I started looking for a safety officer back in December, I didn't realize the challenge I had in front of me. But I'm excited to say that on August 15th, Dean Mills started with us as our safety officer. Dean has 20 years military experience, and he comes to us from the Department of Labor in North Carolina. Prior to that, he was the safety and risk manager in the city of Cocoa in Florida. In just the short time he has been here, he's been all over the town, and he's kind of dug in and helped dig and investigate and find stuff and get us going in the direction that we need to go in. So I'm excited to have him here.
It's a privilege to be here and have a chance to serve the town of Clayton.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kenya. And Joshua Beard.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, Joshua Baird, Engineering Director. Tonight I get to introduce Tim Robbins to you. Tim's been with us since May, but we're just now getting up here, had a couple of conflicts and all, but prior to the town of Clayton, he was with the town of Benson in their Public Works Department. He was there for 6 years and highly involved in several of the operations in the Public Works, from water, sewer, streets, even some of the electric. Before that, he was with NCDOT for 12 years. Position we brought him on as project manager. He'll be involved in both general fund projects as well as some of the water and sewer projects. He'll be helping out with some of the additional park projects at community, and already jumped in on the operations side in terms of some of the improvements that we're looking to do at the operations. So excited to have him on board. Certainly going to be an asset to the department and the town. And with that, Tim Robbins.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here. As Josh said, I've been here for a couple months now and really enjoying it. So thank you for the opportunity.
What project are you managing?
It's a long list.
I'm gonna let you slide, but I couldn't resist. Welcome, Tim. We're glad to have you with us. That's awesome. All right, up next is a public hearing for rezoning request 2022-69RZ for Jason and Viloma Carroll. I need my glasses.
All right. First off, I want to offer my congratulations again to Rich and Heidi. I've had the chance to work with both of you, and you both take good care of me, so I really appreciate that, and congratulations. So good evening, council, members of the public. Tonight, I'm here to present a proposed rezoning for Jason and Villamon Carroll, both of whom are present, sitting behind me. They are seeking to rezone from B3, that is highway business, to central business, that's B1. Very, very small parcel down East Main Street, pretty close to the confluence of Main and US 70 business. Existing use is vacant. There is a structure there, however, it's not currently being used. So this is just showing the zoning. Current zoning is B3. You'll see the site in question there outlined in black dashed lines. The notice sign was placed along Main Street. They are proposing to rezone to B1, that pink that you see there. In terms of future land use, under our 2045 growth plan, it is in the downtown support area, pretty close to the downtown core, however, just a little bit off of it. I just threw this in. This is from our comprehensive plan. It is the description for the downtown support area. You'll notice that it discusses uses which include small-scale retail and office. The applicants, I believe, are seeking to set up a personal services / possible retail business there. So it is consistent in that sense. So this is the key slide. There's a few factors to consider here. First off, the site is within the downtown overlay zoning. I already mentioned the downtown support land use category. The second bullet there, it says this is a spot zoning. I would soften that language after having spoken with Mr. Cawley, our legal counsel. It may appear to be a spot zoning if you consider the zoning district that they're seeking to go to and you compare them to what's around them. However, I should mention that the use that they're proposing is permitted under the current zoning. The reason for the rezoning is due to the uniquely small size of the parcel. There are some dimensional standard requirements for B3 zoning, which frankly make development there nearly impossible. B1 zoning does not have any setbacks. The setbacks are 0 for front, side, and rear. The only dimensional standard is a maximum 50-foot structural height. That is it. And in that sense, should you vote to approve it, you would actually be making the site more conforming with our code. Currently, it is non-conforming. Just to continue here, spot zoning is not illegal in North Carolina. However, they should just be evaluated with greater scrutiny by you. I believe there is something stating that in the record, you should just consider how it may affect the public good, so just keep that in mind. I already talked about how the lot is non-conforming. After this action, the applicant will still need to have a site plan approved by the town staff, and they will need to pass building code for a CO. The two lots that this abuts are vacant. The one to the north is town-owned. I believe we currently have utility pipes there with the intention of boring under the railroad. And the one to the south is vacant with no structure on it whatsoever. So with having said that, the staff, being that it is, could be, or at least could be construed as spot zoning, we make no formal recommendation on the rezoning request. I think the previous slide that I mentioned with the factors to consider is pertinent, so I would say just keep that in mind. And because this is a rezoning, there is a requirement for a statement of consistency and reasonableness. I believe I included that in your packets. However, I just wanted to throw it up here on the screen for your reference during deliberations and a possible motion. And that is it for me. If you have any questions, feel free and happy to answer.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Why would you say spot zoning is a bad practice?
That's a good question. Yeah, spot zoning technically, it could be construed as, you're making me think back to my graduate school planner days. It could be considered, kind of like dealing on an ad hoc basis, I would say. Generally speaking, when you pass zoning regulations, you're supposed to consider general cases. Now, there are, like I said, it's not illegal in the state of North Carolina. There are states where spot zoning is illegal. There are also states where spot zoning isn't illegal, but it is a quasi-judicial matter. Here, it is neither. However, it's just something to consider and look at with a bit more scrutiny, just to make sure that, if it's approved, that it is in the public's best interest and it's not treating one landowner differently than others. So that's just the main gist of it, I would say.
If I could add to that, I think the phrase spot zoning has sort of gotten a bad reputation. It's not. It's certainly not illegal per se. It just has to be analyzed. And I've looked at the facts around this one, and it is not, in my opinion, illegal spot zoning. It is permissible.
All right, any other questions for staff? Thank you, sir. This has been noted as a public hearing. I'll now open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward and state your name for the record. No one wishing to speak, I'll close the public hearing and turn it over to council for their discussion. Mr. Thompson.
I think based on what we need to address, if we're looking at it and it's maybe considered spot zoning, we have to look at what that site's suitable for. Then we have to look at what the use, what it can be used for. And I think in this case, we've got a non-conforming site. So if we can zone it to be something that can be used, can be improved upon, and can contribute to the community, it's just the right thing to do.
Excuse me, sorry, if I may, there's one detail I forgot to mention, and I apologize, but the planning board did unanimously approve this proposal. So just wanted to note that.
Thank you.
All right. I agree with Mr. Councilman Thompson. I think, it makes sense. It's consistent with the comp plan. Staff gave a very good analysis for that particular lot, and I'm in favor of it, approving rezoning.
Ms. Arch.
Just one more thing I wanted to add. As noted in the staff report, this particular rezoning would also conform with the goals of the comprehensive growth plan, particularly when it comes to infill development downtown, where lots are going to be irregular, and you're going to see this kind of thing where you have to be creative to get them to be useful. So I support that.
Awesome.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve rezoning request 2022-69-RZ with a consistency statement. We find this rezoning action consistent with the future land use map goal LU1, policy LU 1.5, strategy LU 1.51, goal DT 1, policy DT 1.1, and strategy DT 1.1.1 of the Comprehensive Growth Plan 2045. And we find this rezoning action reasonable and in the public interest because it removes several nonconformities on this parcel and furthers the objective of the zoning ordinance and the Comprehensive Growth Plan of 2045.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the rezoning. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, up next under old business is the NCDOT Town of Clayton Agreement U6223 Ranch Road Extension Funding.
This evening, we bring forward an agreement that we're asking for your approval to execute between the town and NCDOT. It's a locally administered project for what we call the Ranch Road Extension. It's extending NC 42 east from 70 Business over to Little Creek, and then a little ways down Little Creek, some interchange and improvements there to tie back into Ranch Road. So we've gone through a process with DOT with funding, and they've been able to to commit a good amount of funding to it. And we have $1 million budgeted in the general fund, as well as $500,000 in the water sewer fund for some water line improvements in that project as well. So we're asking for your approval to execute this agreement with the Department of Transportation to move forward with this project.
All right, any questions of staff? All right. With that being said, I will turn it over to council for discussion. Ms. Archer.
So is this two separate actions? One is regarding the agreement and the second is a resolution?
There's a required resolution and as well as the execution of the contract.
It can be made in a single motion.
Okay, in that case, I would like to move to approve the agreement, U6223, Ranch Road Extension Funding, as well as approve resolution number 2022-68.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Up next, under old business, is Riverwalk on the new Greenway Bridges DB contract amendment.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, Jonathan Jacobs, Assistant Town Engineer. I realize, can you turn the podium down a little bit? I turned it up for Tim, sorry. Tonight I have 3 action items for you, 2 budget amendments from finance and a resolution to amend a contract, a design build contract. So you may remember back in January of this year, that is a typo in your agenda packet, it was 2022. Council approved a design build contract with Crowder Construction Company to perform phase 1 of the Greenway Bridge replacements along the Riverwalk on the Neuse. To refresh everybody's memory, there's 3 bridges that are have been deemed deficient and need to be replaced. So the design build team has completed the 60% design and has presented a guaranteed maximum price to town staff. Town staff have vetted that and worked with administration and finance to determine where that funding gap would be retrieved. There's partially a funding gap just due to the nature of our current environment with escalation and inflation, but also staff is recommending 2 additional improvements to be included with that, and those are included in detail in your cover sheet, but it's resurfacing of the existing Greenway Trail between bridges 3 and 5 at a cost of $160,000 additional, and some stream rehabilitation beneath Bridge 4, the middle bridge, where there's been some severe erosion, and we need to repair that in order to protect the infrastructure that we're preparing to move forward with. And so with that, the contract amendment is to approve a guaranteed maximum price of $3,038,814.66 with an estimated completion date of February of 2023, keeping all of the original design build criteria the same as approved. And then the 2 budget amendments are to fund the capital fund to help fund this project by adding an additional $2 million to the capital fund.
Any questions or comments for staff? Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the contract and approve ordinance 2022-09-01, 2022-0902, and approve resolution 2022-69.
Could I ask that you add to the motion subject to legal review on the contract?
Subject to legal review on the contract.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Up next under new business is reimbursement resolution, electric fund and water sewer fund.
Evening, Mayor, members of council. Tonight, we're asking council to approve 2 reimbursement resolutions. These resolutions will allow the town to reimburse itself for expenditures incurred before a future debt issuance. This will greatly enhance our being able to facilitate the management of our capital improvement programs and our enterprise fund. So there's 1 reimbursement resolution for the water sewer fund and 1 for the electric fund.
All right. Questions of staff? All right. Thank you, Robert. Turn it over to council. Ms. Archer.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-66 and Resolution 2022-67.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Now I'm going to jump on into quick staff reports with the new town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me pull out that next speech I wrote here. Couple quick things. One, good news, we had applied for some ARPA funding for master planning of our utilities a few months back. We recently heard that we were awarded $150,000 towards a water master plan and $250,000 towards a wastewater master plan. So kind of going along the theme of over the last year of really kind of put these plans together so we can really have that vision to deliver for the future growth of the town. These are really going to be imperative to really understand how that growth can be impacted. So you'll be seeing a resolution here in a few weeks to go ahead and accept those funds, but we are excited to kick those efforts off. Piggybacking off of that, we will also be bringing a request to submit some additional funding for a downtown stormwater master plan. As that initiative is moving forward in terms of the vision of downtown, we really need to have a holistic plan of how we're going to handle the stormwater because unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, those requirements are not going away. But if we can be a little proactive on our end to go ahead and identify where those opportunities to maybe have a larger holistic solution, we can hopefully be able to guide developers or redevelopment of the area. Last but not least, just wanted to say thank you again for the opportunity as well as all the kind words. I'm going to have to take some of those sound bites and keep them around the house for the next time my girls tell me I'm the worst dad ever, to remind them some other folks maybe feel otherwise. But I appreciate everything and look forward to continuing to work with you all. Thanks.
Awesome. Town attorney? No comments. Town clerk?
No report.
Going on down to other staff with the downtown master plan update from Ben Howell.
Good evening, council. I'll keep this relatively short, but we kicked off our downtown master plan update process in July with a meeting here on site, and then we also walked around the downtown area with the consultants and showed them some areas of interest. So they are working on that. We expect the plan update to be complete in the spring. And the plan will include, in addition to looking at the downtown as a whole and land use, it'll also include transportation analysis recommendations. It'll include a market analysis looking more long-term, and also include an architectural resources analysis. It includes, as part of this effort, we will have 7 public engagement stakeholder events or meetings throughout the next 6 to 8 months as we're working on the plan. And the plan will also provide language and standards for the Unified Development Ordinance update that we're working on. And then the final update I wanted to give you is that we have stakeholder meetings scheduled next Monday and Tuesday. Our consultants will be here all day Monday, and actually will be here Monday evening as well for the Downtown Development Advisory Committee meeting. And then we'll be here again on Tuesday. And we are working to coordinate this plan effort with the Economic Development Department's downtown strategic plan as well.
All right, questions or comments for staff? All right, thank you for the update.
Thank you.
And next will be downtown strategic plan update.
Mr. Mayor, Ben kind of alluded to it. Patrick is actually on his way back from the Johnston County meeting from this evening. There was an announcement made tonight, so he did attend that, but we can provide some additional information for you. But again, that Ben mentioned that we were kicking off some stakeholder meetings, so hopefully anybody that has had an opportunity to sign up for those time slots or otherwise will participate, and I'll let Patrick do a much better job of explaining the remainder of the process at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I'll now open the floor for informal discussion and public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward and state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Ben Chapman. I prepared a presentation, if y'all wouldn't mind if I could get that plugged in. I wanted to give context and structure for my petition to the Clayton Town Council to consider an inclusive non-discrimination ordinance. Sorry. Hello, my name is Ben Chapman. I prepared this presentation to give context and structure for my petition to the Clayton Town Council to consider a more inclusive non-discrimination policy. I want to answer these questions. What is a non-discrimination ordinance? What could it do? Could and should Clayton pass one? And why add protected classes? Stick with me, and I'll conclude with something that could make history in Johnson County and could occur here in the town of Clayton. So discrimination is any difference in treatment based on something. In law, something is framed in terms of protected classes. The expiration of House Bill 2 on December 1st, 2020, allowed counties and municipalities in NC to pass these laws. In under 2 years, 19 communities have acted, and 9 have acted this year alone. Garner passed theirs so recently they weren't even included on this map yet, but they will be added soon. In a literal sense, this would put us on the map. This map by NC is ready. These laws are part of a trend towards local communities prioritizing a recourse for instances of discrimination. Federal law already prohibits many types of discrimination, but not all. Another benefit of these local ordinances is the ability to protect communities not explicitly covered under the letter of federal law. So I compared several policy statements before coming here after the last session when y'all passed the non-discrimination ordinance. And I found these additional categories and found each and every one of them was worthy and good to be added to the Town of Clayton non-discrimination policy. Ethnicity, creed, and ancestry broaden the scope of racial discrimination. The intent in federal law remains, but this allows diverse communities to seek relief in Clayton. Natural hair or hairstyles is important because activists and advocates of racial justice frequently cite examples of this type of discrimination. Sexuality, gender identity, or expression broadens protections for the LGBTQ+ community. Bostock versus Clayton County is a Supreme Court precedent that held that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 protects LGBT employees from discrimination. National Guard or veteran status is of interest to the federal government, and discrimination on the basis of religious belief is rare, but also covered under the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So why am I here and why should you care? I'm personally a member of the LGBTQ+ community who has faced discrimination. I'm an Eagle Scout, and I was involved in scouting at a time where there was a national ban on openly gay scouts. Times have changed and law should reflect that. I believe that it really is in the best interest of the town of Clayton to have a local non-discrimination ordinance. I'm here to advocate for protections for diverse communities. which are inclusive and provide a specific recourse to address any and all complaints of discrimination. And here's a compelling reason. This is the GIS map of the town of Clayton limits. Small note, if you could contact the GIS department, this says town of Cary whenever you zoom in on it. So I just noticed that as I was looking up the boundaries of the town of Clayton. Unincorporated communities in Wake County adjacent to Clayton are already protected under the law. So I think that there should not be an arbitrary boundary of the county line where discrimination protections end. Since the passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, many more diverse communities have moved to Clayton and called it home. All are equally worthy of legal protections. The historic event that I reference is the first Pride Parade in the history of Johnson County. I don't know when it will be held, nor what community in which it will be hosted, but I hope that it's here in Clayton, and I hope that it's soon. Thank you for your time, and that concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions or comments? Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Chapman, since our last meeting when you spoke, so go on the record regarding our email conversation since we last spoke. I did forward all of your suggestions for the additional wording to our Human Resources Department and our MWBE coordinator, and have asked for them to give feedback and, to hear any objections, any suggestions for wording, because basically the next step would be that we either need to amend the ordinance we have or create something new and, get Mr. Cawley, our attorney, to put his final stamp on it so that we can bring it before this council as a group, because I'm only one council member. But I can tell you, I think Clayton's always had a history of doing right and doing right by our citizens. And, I grew up here, lived here my entire life, grew up one block from here. And I've never looked at Clayton as discriminating against anybody. But I have to be mature enough to know that I've only looked at Clayton through one lens. And there are a lot of other people looking at Clayton through different lenses. And we need to make sure that whatever we do represents everyone and not just one point of view. I'm in favor of us either enhancing or recrafting our ordinance. It just needs to go through the right process so that it gets to us. But I just want you to know that we've heard you. And, there's been conversation among us that, where do we go from here? But I agree with you. I think Clayton's always been a great place to live. We've always done right by our people. And if it's time to do even better by our people, then it's time.
Awesome. Anyone else?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for coming out again to come and see us, and through some of our conversations, and, kind of talking with Jason a little bit. I think this is a good time, seeing the diversity here in Clayton, that we kind of start looking into that and start embracing some changes, some new things into our ordinance that speaks to everyone. I honestly feel that we need to reflect the community and our ordinances and our laws, and any proclamations that we might have should speak to that as well, to make sure that we are covering everyone and that we are looking at everyone in a positive light, and just embracing every creed that we have. So I thank you again for coming out. And I hope to see you again soon. And we will definitely be looking and talking with our attorney and town manager, and seeing what else we can do. But just like Jason said, I support you as well. And I think the community would support this.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chapman. This council will take your suggestions under advisement. Anyone else? All right. No one else. I'll turn it over to council for comments. No comments from council. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Is there any other business that needs to come before this council this evening? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Good night.